Hey you, how's it going? My name is Ruby Price and you are listening to episode 46 of Fresh from the Scene. Before we get started, if you do enjoy this podcast, please do something about it. Share the podcast on socials, review the podcast on Apple Podcasts, or rate the podcast on Spotify. And if you're listening to it on a platform that you aren't yet subscribed on, please help me out with a subscribe. It takes seconds. Plus, you can always support me on Patreon as an extra incentive. So, in my infancy as a podcaster, I like to take inspiration from a few of my favourites, whether that be these punny intros or my job as a host to get the best out of my guests. Well, in the however many months I've spent in a chrysalis between episodes, I've returned at the turn of the tide to podcast once again, and let me tell you, I feel awake, which leads me quite nicely on to this week's guests, Harry and Rob from Memnor, and let's get right into it for episode 46 of Fresh from the Scene.
You're listening to Fresh from the Scene with your host, Ruby Price.
Welcome to Fresh from the Scene. Today's guests are the absolutely wonderful Rob and Harry from Memnor. How are you doing both?
Oh, I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so excited. I'm feeling so podcast ready.
Yes, I will remain human for this podcast.
Did you have to do a capture just to accept the invite for this podcast,
Harry actually can't do captures. It's one of his failings. He's enough of a robot man. That he really
I do have very
struggles.
specific skills, and captures is not one of them.
Yeah. The other day we were walking to a practice, and I asked him to label all the parts of the image that had a bicycle in it, and he just started crying. Bless him.
I feel like I've just finally found out why you're able to do the things that you do live.
Honestly, yes. Yeah.
Brilliant.
People with emotions can't do what Harry does.
Certainly not. Speaking of people with emotions, I think we should address the people that are listening to this podcast. Obviously, you two are just half of Memnor. For anyone listening who doesn't know who Memnor are, how would you describe Memnor?
I've heard Harry describe it in the past as high effort hobbying, and I really like that. We're just a prog band. We've tried throwing around prog rock and prog metal in the past, and prog rock conjures images of wizened 60-year-old men talking about King Crimson, which is great. I love that.
But that's also the demographic as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and prog metal we don't have good enough haircuts to be a prog metal band. We don't have expensive haircuts.
But some parts of the music do gent.
Yes, but some parts of the music kind of prog rock as well. You know,
Yeah.
We've got Mellotron. I pushed fairly hard to get Mellotron in the new
yeah.
track. So I think we just kind of stuck with prog. And if I'm just saying we're a prog band, I think people will fill in the mystery question mark after the word prog with whatever they want to hear, which is maybe good for our SEO.
Prog is definitely one of those genres, one of those genres where it's so undetermined and so expansive. Where you can just say I'm part of a prog band, and everyone will have their own little idea, but whatever that they actually end up listening to, I think, unless they're one of those, but it has to be a very specific subsection of genre. We'll just be like, yeah, that's prog, and it's. I mean, you also describe yourself as music by and for nerds, which is also a fitting description of prog music.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I mean that's exactly it. It's I think it's deliberately ambitious in every way that we are able to make it ambitious. There are things that we don't have the skill set for, that we don't really try and capitalize on. But I think in terms of things that I don't have the skill set for, Harry and Josh and Ben make up for that. So I think we're just really just trying to
Ben
make...
can play drums, so
and that's all. Man, I don't even know if what Ben is doing nowadays classes as playing drums. He's doing some absolutely illegal rhythm stuff. It's
illegal rhythm stuff.
It's a nutcase. I don't. So he does a lot of jam nights and stuff around Huddersfield, and he puts some content up on Instagram of him kind of breaking down how he's thinking. But I really just do get the idea that he's one of these guys that is just thinking 24/7 about music. And don't get me wrong, I teach guitar and then come home and play guitar, and I wake up and do Memnor stuff, and it's a huge part of my life, but I do feel like I sometimes turn that off, and I just never feel like Ben just has not turned off since he was like 12, and he's just reached a kind of musical Super Saiyan level that I don't understand the stuff that he's capable of.
He's one of those people you describe, and I think has previously been described on this podcast as a mystery wrapped in an enigma. And it's purely just because he's 24/7
he's just
drum
he's just
music.
Well, that's the thing. He's like as good a guitar player as me and Harry. You know, he plays honestly mostly like kind of hip hop and funk stuff. But dude can shred. Like he
More
can
vibes.
Oh yeah, he kind of sees through genre in a way that it just kind of gets to the pure music thing that's right at the middle of it. And I think originally we had a few different drummers in our like journey to get from a functionally a bedroom project. You know, it was me and Harry kind of in various bedrooms over the years putting nerd music together, and we played with a fella called Tom Rice, who was a phenomenal drummer. Like he recorded for Chrysalis, our second track, and he plays with Empire State Bastard now with the fella from Biffy Clyro. He like depped for Dave Lombardo from Slayer.
Yeah.
Like this dude absolutely rips. It was nice to have him around, but it was so busy, you know, that it was a huge pain. But he had a very specific sound, right? Like he had I am a prog metal drummer. I can play Dream Theater, I can play Carnival, you know, he could do all of the tricks that you could listen to him play and be like, that's a prog drummer. And I think when Ben came in, he just came in with just like curiosity.
Yeah, it's just like he decided, I want to learn some prog. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is, but it's.
We worked together at the time, and he just kind of approached me saying, do you have like a score or something for Chrysalis for part 2? And this was at the time just after Tom had left, and we'd just like paid another drummer to record part 3 because we couldn't find anybody who could play it. And I just kind of like gave him the score. I was like, yeah, go on, please I don't want to like nudge him or like persuade him in any way. I just want to like hope that it percolates in a good way. And he went away and he did some absolute crimes with it and came back, and I was like, I just have never imagined music that I had a hand in writing ever sounding like that.
Yeah.
And I think originally that was so shocking that it didn't strike me first thing as a good thing. It just struck me as like, this is very different, and it's going to take me a second. Because I had an idea of what I wanted it to sound like, you know? And after a little bit of kind of chewing on my own ego, I realized that everything he's doing is so much better than anything I could come up with. And now I just like, it's a really relaxing flow state thing to play with Ben, just because he doesn't play the same thing twice. He's not like a drum machine, like a lot of these prog guys are. He just has a good time. And if there's you know videos of us playing live and stuff, and he's just like grinning like an absolute maniac the whole time, hitting things that aren't drums, like subdividing fives over the bar line, and it just brings this kind of like really playful, joyous energy to the whole thing that originally in my head, when I was trying to be, you know, when I had an idea that we'll be a serious band, you know, making serious music for serious people, I just can't keep a straight face when Ben's on the drums. It's the best.
Yeah, I mean, speaking as one of the people that has done the videos of Ben White smiling his head off behind a drum kit, it's certainly one of those things that, like, you're just kind of there, like, how are you doing what you're doing whilst you're doing what you're currently doing?
I don't think it's possible to do what he's doing without having a good time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think it's a level above. It's a level that you can't get to unless you're like curious.
And you have to actually be enjoying yourself to do it, which is what music should be, in my opinion, as someone who, you know, mostly power chords and stuff like that whilst playing guitar, but like,
that's the fun
I do it
stuff.
to have fun. Yeah,
exactly, that's it.
So sometimes it's easy to forget that that's what it's meant to be about when you're doing stuff that's really difficult. But when it gets back to it, when you're playing with a band, it's like, it's meant to be fun. This is the high effort hobby.
This is the high effort hobby.
Yeah.
There's a good Guthrie Govan interview, for my money the best guitar player that's the end of the sentence. He's just the best guitar player. He's just the best. And he's kind of talking about his experience of having a conversation with someone at a like convention and them saying, yeah, but I don't want to get really, really good. Like I don't want to become like one of the best. I just want to get home after a hard day of work and I just want to play a pentatonic scale over a Battlefield rock guitar track in B minor on YouTube that some like one of these backing track companies has put up and just pretend that I'm an absolute rock star. And you do forget, like you forget that that's the point, you know? Like that's why we all started in the first place.
My guitar journey was like watching Tom Fletcher in the Five Colours in a Hair music video with a flying V guitar and stuff and going, that looks cool. And then like School of Rock being like one of the movies that they showed at school, like in a recent, and just being like, can I do this? And then, you know, journeying from there. But it's about having fun.
Yeah, a flying V is such a microcosm of exactly what that idea is, right? Have you ever played one?
They are so... I have one.
It's so bad.
I don't think I've ever played one. Is it because it's like, is it too top heavy or something? Or is it like, I don't know. I feel like it can only be a good time.
You can't sit down and play with them.
Oh, well, yeah, true.
Is obviously, unless you get like one of those attachments that you can get, like that just kind of like then makes it rest on your legs and stuff. But I was doing just to say that how long I've had this flying V, like I was doing a school assembly at the front playing on that flying V, and everyone else in the performance was sat down and I just had to stand because there was no way I could play what I was trying to play. Sat down with that flying V.
It's a guitar that is like practically inaccessible, like bad to play sat down. You can't practice on it. You can only rock out on it. You have to play stood up with a foot on the monitor, and you have to go whittly diddly 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 diddly. It's the only way to play that guitar, and for that reason, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, you know, flying V's and all that other fun stuff. There are so many illogical instruments in our genre at the very least, but you kind of touched on this a little bit. I want to talk about the backstory for Memnor, and I'm phrasing it that way specifically because music by and for nerds, you know. It sounds like when you were getting Ben, you rolled a nat 20 on, you know, your perception check for drummers. But you know, started off as a bedroom project in various bedrooms. The two of you seem to be the most consistent element of that, but tell me how you've gone from Memnor as a project that wasn't even called Memnor, if I'm remembering correctly, to where you are now, which is about to release a new song.
Me and Rob went to uni, so that was quite a while ago now. So like, 15 years ago?
Don't do this.
So we both had like our individual music projects we were doing at the time. So I was in this band with my mate Dan called Iconic, which was very much my kind of starter kind of bedroom higher effort prog music type thing. Because it was, you know, during uni, I did it as like the final project or whatever, but obviously after finishing uni, had no money. Basically I had to put like music on hold, trying to like get a job and stuff like that. At the same time, so Rob also was working on his Flying Machine project.
Flying Machine, yeah.
So Rob released this song called Worlds Apart, which is one of my favorite songs ever, I would say.
That's nuts.
No, like literally. So yeah, Rob put out a 26 minute long song for his uni project. I was involved in like, you know, the engineering for the drums with our mate Dale, who was also the drummer for Iconic, Fly Machine, and the first Memnor track, which we'll get onto. And then a few years later, we were like, so Iconic was kind of done basically. You know, we were all starting our adult lives, all that boring shit. But then later on, me and Rob started to jam. You can take it from there, Rob.
Yeah,
that's
law.
So
law. Flying Machine was super fun, and I basically came to uni to do that song. Like, I applied to Huddersfield Uni knowing that the final year project was an individual project where I could do whatever I want, and I would want to record this 26-minute long song that I started writing when I was like 16. And I was so determined to do the like Steven Wilson, Trent Reznor thing of write the theme tune, sing the theme tune. I'm gonna produce it all myself. I'm gonna learn how to mix, and I'm gonna like play all the instruments. And the further I went down that rabbit hole, I realized that I am not very good at a lot of those things. So I kind of like had to outsource more and more things. But because I tried to mix Worlds Apart, the original Flying Machine tune, I'm still really proud of it compositionally, but I can't listen to it because it doesn't sound like a song.
I think it sounds fine.
I think it sounds bad and dumb. And every time I heard anything that Harry had his fingers in, it just... Yeah, I just got overwhelmingly jealous of anybody that got to work with him. So there was a point
it had fewer notes.
Yeah.
Fewer notes.
I will die on this hill, I think. Yeah, never mind. That's a conversation for another time. But we started jamming. There was a program called Ohm Studio. Do you remember Ohm Studio? It was a cloud-based DAW in 2010. Which was early.
Revolutionary.
It was insane.
Like, why is it not a thing?
And it worked seamlessly enough that we wrote basically part of Infancy, right? That was like the first Memnor that we wrote, like was a great big chunk of what became Infancy, like 10 years later. Just in bedrooms, 2 separate bedrooms, just uploading a guitar track that went up into the cloud and then appeared on a DAW. I think Ohm Studio is defunct now, and I think there are other DAWs doing that. Probably better.
Not really. No. That like there's nothing better than that was, and it's gone.
There was a fella at our uni that was like working on programming one, wasn't there?
Yes, although that didn't handle audio. Well, yet. I guess.
A DAW, so it was just a DW.
Yeah. No, so you know what I mean, MIDI, you know that.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, it was incredible, but yeah, it's I don't know. I'm willing to be proved wrong if someone can point me towards a DAW Google Docs, or no one's developed source control for Reaper. Anyway, let's get on with it.
I mean, the tech that we had was a big part of it. Like we tried doing it with audio movers and Restream over COVID.
That worked really well as well, actually.
Yeah, and that was handy, but it was still like not the same.
Yeah.
I've realised that I really do like being in a room with Harry, mostly just because I tend to work very well when somebody just keeps telling me no. I think if I keep doing what I want, it always goes too far and gets kind of dumb. So Harry's a good grounding influence.
This coming from the person who had to take some time away when someone did a different drum beat to what you were expecting for a song.
Yeah, I'm more accepting of those little changes now. But I still, especially if I'm in the zone, I like to just be able to just throw out 100,000 billion trillion ideas, and just kind of filter them through Harry's mind sieve, which is very powerful. We I can't remember when it turned into actually putting stuff together for host for part 1 for the New Seed saga. Our like long running.
2017.
I was going to say 17.
Yeah, like late 2016 when I moved to Huddersfield. So yeah, I moved back to Huddersfield from Manchester, and then I only lived 5-minute drive from you. So. Oh
yeah, and we started like streaming. Yeah, that's when we did our first Twitch stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, excellent stuff. It's all coming together now. We started streaming. We wrote and recorded host and bits of Chrysalis, and then it was just not so much bureaucracy but scheduling of trying to get a drummer in and getting the studio time and all of that kind of stuff. We kind of had a band. We kind of had a drummer at least when we did host, and then after that it was just finding somebody in the Venn diagram, that 3-part Venn diagram of someone who has the chops to play what we want, someone who has the free time to play what we want, and someone who is enthusiastic about the music that we're making. Like those 3 circles didn't ever connect, and then Ben White came along and connected the 3.
Yeah, up until a couple of years ago, I was like, almost quite happy just accepting like we will
Yeah,
always
same.
have to hire a drummer to record it for us.
Yeah, we had that conversation. It's just like, this is going to be expensive, but this is our like hobby, you know. As people get into their middle age, as we are,
Yeah.
you got to have your like hobbies, and it's
Your high effort hobbies.
And
you got to have your high effort hobbies.
Yeah, and luckily it's not mega expensive. It's just more expensive than using MIDI drums,
Yeah.
which I don't want to do.
Yeah, and that also takes us into like prog metal territory, you know, being like the bedroom project. I didn't want to be that.
A bit above that, you know.
But something that was really nice as well, that when we got Josh, because Ben put us onto Josh.
Yeah.
And as soon as I heard Josh play, I was like, this guy gets it. He knows exactly what he's doing.
So that's why our low end sounded like shit.
Yeah, because I was playing the bass, because, you know, I just needed some low end, so I was playing bass. But I wasn't really playing bass. I was playing guitar whilst holding a bass, you know.
Yeah, relatable.
Yeah, it's just not the same thing. And then as soon as you get Josh coming in and putting down like someone who has put time into learning bass as an instrument specifically, it is a night and day difference. And
absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. I do feel like maybe one day we go back and we re-record the bass parts in.
I mean, have I got news for you? That's already been done for months.
Yes! Story break! Oh, that's so
Breaking
exciting.
news on Fresh from the
Breaking
Scene.
news. When did you do that?
Quite a while ago, actually.
Damn, that's very exciting. That's
Yeah,
good.
just clear your mind of all of that now.
Yeah.
There's nothing more to add.
Yeah,
Yet.
I mean, there's just I guess it's one of those things that I've never been a big fan of, like going back to previously done work.
I know what you mean.
I've talked about this a billion times. Like if we have 10 hours, I would rather spend those 10 hours writing new music than modernizing our old music. You know?
Yeah, part of me agrees, but yeah, we can get onto that at some other point. I think.
Yeah, well, I think especially as the new Seed Saga is approaching completion in another 400 years, then maybe we can kind of mix it all to be. I say we, that's generous. I mean Harry. I'll just kind of go to the shops and get you snacks and make you cups of tea to support you emotionally while you do it. But yeah, having a kind of a thing with a consistent sound would be cool.
We've talked about it enough. Let's talk about it now. The New Seed Saga, a 9-part series originally written as a 90-minute song. At what point did someone tell you people don't have an attention span for 90 minutes in one go anymore?
Yeah, Harry, why did you tell me that?
Well, I had to whittle you down, didn't I? So it's like, I would be very happy to listen to a 90-minute long song. It would take us, over 10 years to do. Convince you that we'll have to do it in parts. And just one song parts. And then maybe later on we can have a mega mix or like a vinyl that's like a 2-meter radius vinyl or something. I don't know how much they store or whatever.
I would absolutely love to do that. I think so. The long form thing, right? This is the headline I think of Memnor at the moment. Like every time we get any feedback or reviews from people, it's literally the first thing that they say you'll see. There was a fella that did like a reaction video on YouTube.
Oh, Spectre Sound Studios, yeah.
Yes, this guy. And the first thing he said was like, firstly, loudly swearing, and then going, 10 minutes! And I was like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And then
guy.
as the song goes through and it gets to the end, the conversation turns to, oh, that didn't feel like 10 minutes, but you are still just talking about the length of the song here.
Yeah.
like, realistically. And all the feedback that I get, when I put it up for Submit Hub that I've been talking about the last couple of days, just to see what people think, before we put it out. The only thing we ever get, even if I put a note on it saying, I know it's a long song, is people say, it's very long. It'd be good if it was like if somebody said, oh, you need to keep it to under 4 minutes to make it punchy. I was like, I'm not trying to do what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, thank you.
And that is the thing as well. Like, obviously, all of that feedback is coming from a state of the industry is like this, people are like this, the audience is like this. But at the same time, what you're doing, as well as being expensive hobbying. That's not the phrase that you used earlier in the podcast.
It's getting that way though.
Yes, yeah, true.
But high effort hobbying, I think, was the one. But what you're trying to do is create something that you guys want to do, and fundamentally, I think anyone that's listening to it, with an open mind, is going to appreciate that. And for me, like, I think outside of the occasional like one specific song, the vast majority of like my listening is in that sort of
Same.
4 to 6 minutes. But then Memnor started getting added to my library for some reason, can't imagine why. Like I feel like it just goes up, and it's like there's Stephen Wilson, he's got songs that are too long, inverted commas.
Take that back.
I'll never take it back.
Luminol is the perfect album opener. Everything off the Raven That Refused to Sing is like 8 minutes to 12 minutes, and I cannot get enough of it.
It's a banger. Yeah, like music lasts as long as music needs to last. Like you can tell the songs that go on too long. You can tell the songs that aren't long enough. Like some of the songs by my favorite bands, I think finish too early because they've been made like on labels and stuff that are saying, here's the guidelines, stick to these fucking guidelines.
There's also there's so many people making amazing music that is short. I can't compete with that. I want to be in a different demographic. There's enough people making absolutely phenomenal 4-minute like prog, rock, pop, metal records.
We partially strive to make the songs long, but I think that the reason for that is because the structures that we want to go for necessitate the length of the song, basically. So in order to round off what we're trying to do with the ideas we've got out there, it needs to round off in a smooth way, otherwise it's going to sound like it's too short and then end at like 7 minutes when it really does need to be 10 minutes or that kind of thing. Or we do a kind of, it's 3 songs in a trench coat, really. So, which is definitely what the last song kind of was. And this song is like Awake. It's a prog rock song dressed up in a prog metal trench coat. I don't know. And they're like an eclair.
Yeah. No, keep going. I'm going to add all of this to the EPK, to the press release.
Yes. So
it's an eclair.
And in terms of the style stuff, so I really like it when I hear new music and you can clearly tell what bands that they really like, and I like that. And it's like, people don't want to plagiarize the bands that they like, but you can tell in their music that they like the bands and that they've heard a cool thing, and we definitely do the same. So the stuff we're listening to at the time, so like, if each song takes like maybe like a year to do, we'll shoehorn bits of stuff that we've liked currently, which is why Awake's mix sounds like Carnival, So
it's like a little microcosm of all the stuff that we have been A, listening to, and B, working on. Like there's a lot of stuff in Awake that I wrote deliberately to get my fingers to be able to do very specific things on guitar. Like this, the main riff, this is maybe a little nerdy, but there's a spread triads thing, which is like an Eric Johnson thing on guitar. And one of the main riffs is just me, like it's a study. It's a little etude in spread triads and moving that around. And then when you put that in a song and you're kind of forced to play it over and over again, like my fingers just know how to do that technique now. It kind of is a thing that I was working on a year ago and is now a part of my vocabulary and the music that is out there in the world with our name on it, which is cool.
That is very cool, and like it's kind of like expansion through necessity almost, of like it's similar to how I've picked up video skills and podcasting and content creation. Is it's always been a case of, I started off making YouTube videos with a digital camera digital was a very generous word, filming video content on a front-facing camera on an iPhone. It didn't have a front-facing camera on an iPhone 3G and stuff like that in 4:3 aspect ratio. And then it's like, I want to improve my skills. Okay, buys a camera. I want to make the audio sound better. Learns miking and all that other fun stuff as well. I want to make the video post-production process better. Cool. Right, sits down and just has a panic attack whilst approaching After
Yeah, that's how you do
Effects.
it. It's usually halfway through the third thing that the panic attack hits. You get another one
Exactly.
around 6 or 7 as well.
I mean, just wait until the next Rubes project.
Oh, I can't wait. Yeah.
Like, you're not going to see me because I'll have been sectioned or something. But yeah, so far we've had Host, Chrysalis, Infancy, and now we're on to part 4, Awake. Rob, did I say those right?
Yeah.
Hey, brilliant.
Awake. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that song on repeat whilst I've been preparing for this podcast.
I've listened to it twice.
No, I've listened to it 5 or 6 times.
That's like an hour. Good.
Like,
going.
and then last night, I had it on repeat, and then went back through Host, Chrysalis, and Infancy as well, just to see how like it obviously builds up together, because the concept is one song,
Yeah.
and all in different parts and stuff. And first of all, gotta say, it slaps. It's got groove. It's dynamic. It doesn't shy away from exploring the space, the groove, the chugging. In the PK, obviously, which I read anyway, but, you mentioned Mick Gordon and stuff, and you can hear the Doom soundtrack influence loud and clear in this song as well, just as an example to, presuming like it, was either something you were playing or just like as a reference track whilst you were writing it. But, yeah, this song just sounds like,
The Doom thing was really interesting because the first time we had anything like that was when me and Harry were throwing just bits and pieces back and forth to each other on home studio. He sent me a track called Terminate.mp3. And I still have it in the Forest of the
so
Future
bad.
Dropbox folder. No, I'd honestly never felt anything like it. I have like this
I'll have to go
like
back and listen.
Inside Out, the film Inside Out core memory island built around when I was sat listening to Terminate.mp3, and I was like, I've never heard a noise that makes me feel like this noise makes me feel. And then all that sound design, like I just don't know people that use that in music, because in a song, this is where I'm gonna be a nerd and talk maybe about the difference between a song and a piece. I don't know. In a song, you can't really just throw in sound design like that. It just will do too much to the momentum. But when you've got like something that is like on a slow burn and you really build up to like the Doom part in Chrysalis, or the Bekenkeng in Awake, which is the a section, I don't know how far it is in. I'm gonna guess like kind of like 7 or 8 minutes in. This like super heavy, like very hard produced where those guitars don't sound like guitars anymore. It's not even metal. It's kind of like doing electronic stuff, and I adore it.
Yeah, I think like because a lot of bands are experimenting with that at the moment. I use it as a way to like push my like production kind of stuff, but I still want to make it sound a little bit like scrappy. So like with the guitars in that specific section where it's chugging along and stuff, I've left in all the horrible like bits in between the chugs. It's like a lot of music. At the moment, they will edit it out and stuff, and there is a time and a place for that. But I think I wanted it to sound even more nasty, but in a kind of like more organic way, I guess, alongside the electronic stuff. As
You
well.
want it to sound like someone's actually playing it rather than it being inputted
yes.
like note per
So
note
he is,
in the
right?
thing.
Like if you've seen him do it live, like it's not on the track. He's playing the sound design live.
To be fair, though, I do deconstruct that from the thing, so I can then play it live. But but there is, there is played elements to it. My mate actually, I sent this to my mate Kevin, and he said about the kind of mix. He was like, "This sounds like a really nicely done, what was it, audio tree session, but like a really crisply done." I was like, that's really awesome, because I want it to sound like it was recorded live, even though it most certainly was not recorded in one room, and it was extremely difficult to do. But the fact that I got that effect at the end was actually I was quite happy with that kind of review. To be fair,
on the mix thing, I'll use this as an opportunity to point out that we're like planning to release the stems of the recording on Bandcamp as like a kind of producer pack of the track, because I mean it's so hard to make money from your music nowadays. But so when we were like trying to think about how else can we promo this? Like, what else can we do besides just being like, here's our song, the one song that we did. We've got like a score of all of the parts that we're playing live for it that people can kind of get in addition to the track, or you can kind of get that producer pack with all the stems and have a crack at mixing it yourself, or remixing it, or doing all
the Memnor we have at home.
Yeah. One of the sections is called Pound Shop Mick Gordon in the iPad, which I didn't realise until Harry plonked it down in front of me at rehearsal a couple of days ago.
I love just the names that you end up with when you're making any form of recording or something like that. It's just like, as opposed to also just final hyphen, use this one, use this one, brackets, definitely this one.
Yeah, and then
like just, and then the date, like it's just whatever word randomly comes to your head, or like, some other random comparison, or in jokes, and it's like working titles and all that other fun stuff of just like, the lore that led to the final product and all that other fun stuff as well. Like, these are the details that like just make me love music even more than I already do.
Yeah, I think when I started off, I did have some amount of like shame about showing that, the process and the lore and the working titles and all that. I was like, no, this is the final thing. This is supposed to be the facade, the front-facing version of it. But the more I've got into it, the more I've realised that when there's any amount of depth there, it does make it feel more human and more alive, and it allows people to engage with the music in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, because of the fact that I know that I'm limited for time, and I wish this conversation could go on forever, because I feel like there's so little that we've really covered. First of all, where can people find the Part 4 Awake when it's released, and anything else in that sort of regard that you want them to go and check out?
When it's released, it's being released on Bandcamp on the 28th of November, or Novembre if you're French. So it'll be on that for like purchase as a tasty flack. You can get it as a FLAC or an MP3 if you are stuck for space, or a WAV, I believe, AIF, all of your favourite formats. I've put metadata on it this time. So I actually have remembered to do that. So Bandcamp for the first month, and then on the 28th of December, it's coming to streaming, because I've found that if you give people a month of time where they can functionally hear it early, or hear it like while it's out but not streaming, that's been really useful for just kind of like getting people to engage with it a little bit more. And then in December it'll be out on streaming, whatever you yell at your home device. I'm not going to say the names of any of them in case I send anybody's off, but in theory you would be able to yell, hey, play Awake by Memnor. I'd hope so. I've not tried it.
I think it should be able to.
But on the 28th of December, the plan is that everyone will be sat around with nothing to do for 3 days.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so
nice
so they've got no excuse.
Christmas snack.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be full of. I think I put in the EPK that everyone will be sat around too full of cheese to do anything else. So you'll just have to listen to 10 to 11 minutes of consecutive prog. So it'll be out everywhere then.
It is interesting that the one that you pull out is eating cheese, because like the way that my screen's laid out at the moment, the only thing I can see from the EPK is just the words cheese for 3 days. And then bliss underneath.
Yes! It works. The system works.
Yes. But yeah, is there anything else you want to plug at this point? And another thing I also like to do is get people to recommend a song. So anything else you want to plug and give the audience a song to listen to?
We are taking it on the road in the smallest possible way to Sheffield, Huddersfield, and then Morley near Leeds on the 8th and 9th and 10th of January next year, which again is early enough in the year that you could just, set your intention to be a prog person for that year. So yeah, we're doing 8th in Sheffield at the Yorkshireman, and then 9th in Huddersfield at the Parish, and then 10th in Morley at Crank Studios. And then we're all going to just go and have a big old sit down and play some video games. And Harry's going to paint some Warhammer.
Warhammer. There's a band that they're called Kairos, which people should listen to. I need to get into it more, but it's fucking awesome prog. That's what my mate suggested to me the other day.
I'm doing a thing for just listening to a bunch of Moron Police. I don't know if either of you heard Moron Police.
I think you've mentioned them before.
I have a feeling it's Scandinavian. I'm not sure which flavor of Scandinavian though. And it's prog, and it's good. It's like kind of poppy prog, vaguely kind of like tongue-in-cheek, satirical, political a little bit. But it's nuts music. It's really good though. Yeah, would strongly recommend. They've got a new tune out. And I could go to Spotify and look at what it's called, but I'm sure if you look up more on Police, you'll find it.
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of things you could find if you googled Moron
Yeah.
Police, but look for the band and the artist, Moron
band.
Police. But no, on that note then, thank you very much to the two of you for joining me.
Thank you.
And I can't wait for everyone else to hear part 4 and to see you at some January shows.
Wicked.
Nice.
Nice. Look, Mum, I'm on a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
You're listening to Fresh from the Scene with Ruby Price.
Thank you very much for listening. If you did enjoy that, please do all that generic podcast stuff, like, share, comment and subscribe. Make sure you go buy Awake by Memnor on the 28th of November, and if you're listening after December, you'd better get streaming it. A big thank you once again to Harry and Rob for joining me. I had a lot of fun with this podcast, and it's such a shame we were limited for time because I honestly could have spent all day chatting to those two. If you want to follow me on socials, you can find me at Ruby Rose Price on Instagram and Threads, or over on Blue Sky where I'm at Rubes, Ruubez. If you're interested in coming on, do get in touch, and if you know someone who may be interested in coming on, tag them and let's make it happen. And on that note, I've been Ruby Price, and this was Fresh from the Scene. Thank you very much, and goodbye.